Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of What is on My Wrist. So today we are going to be talking about a watch that isn't a Rolex. We are talking about a watch that isn't overly expensive. We're talking about a watch that I think is very much relevant in today's kind of world. Today we are talking about the Seiko 6309 7040. So this is sometimes referred to as the Seiko Turtle. So very, very cool watch. It's a dive watch. It is overbuilt. It is rugged. It looks great with pretty much everything. This example is very, very early. I believe it's a 79 or an 80. And the condition of this thing is just superb and spectacular. The cool thing about 6309s in general is they're pretty affordable. So 6309s as of right now are sitting between about $500 to $800 for ones that I would consider worthwhile of investing based on just condition. But I think they're a watch that is definitely creeping up. At Basel World this year, we saw kind of a re-release of the Turtle, and it's just an iconic watch, cult classic, and again, it's one of my favorite watches in my personal collection. The thing that's interesting as well is there are a lot of people who are always curious as to what is on my wrist, and in many cases, it's a watch that is seemingly simple and kind of understated and just kind of cool. So a couple things I want to talk about before we dive into the history and things like that. I have this watch on kind of what we would call like a Super Jubilee bracelet. This is made by a company called Miltat, and they make these really cool, more modern bracelets for Seiko watches. I like the idea of this watch being on a Jubilee. I believe you could have originally got them from the factory on a Jubilee. Distinctively, the crown is offset, so it's not at the 3 o'clock position. It's actually at like more of like the 4 or 5 o'clock position. The cool thing about this is that when it is on the wrist, so when you're actually wearing the watch, the crown doesn't dig into the top side of your wrist. So I'm not sure if you can see that, but you know, while you're wearing the watch, it's actually really, really comfortable. So what's interesting about the watch from a size perspective is it's actually pretty big. It's 45 millimeters wide. So it's a pretty big watch. The thing that's interesting is the case is actually more of a cushion style case. So the case kind of comes out from the bottom and swoops up towards the bezel. So the lug width of the 6309 is 22 millimeters. And the reason why I think it is 22 millimeters from from a design perspective is this watch was a watch that was used for its intended purpose. It was a dive watch. You know, strap configuration for diving can kind of change and it needs to be a little bit more thick and robust. The watch was commonly on this kind of rubber dive strap. And it's very kind of late 1970s, 1980s. It's kind of just as iconic as the watch itself, this type of accordion style, you know, rubber strap. So a lot of strap options, which makes owning a watch like this very, very fun. The other thing that I really love about this watch is it's very accessible. It's funny, I've spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on, you know, rare prototype examples and, you know, Daytonas and Paul Newmans and Submariners and all that kind of stuff. And I think the true enthusiast and collector also kind of appreciates this watch for a lot of the same reasons why I do. The movement is a 6309 movement. What's great about the movement is that it is day and date, which I think is pretty cool. The other cool thing too about the movement is it is quick set day and date. So in the first position, you can quickly adjust the date as well as the day. The cool thing too is in this specific early variant, which has a SUA symbol on above the 6 o'clock marker, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, is it has day either displayed as number 1 for Monday or Monday. So it has the English variant. Or it just, again, has like that numerical reference to what day of the week it is. The cool thing too is on Sunday, it displays Sunday in red, and or it has like this big red like patch or block for Sunday, which I think is really, really cool. It kind of makes me appreciate Sunday when I'm wearing it, because this watch definitely lets you know that it is Sunday. So in closing, guys, very, very cool watch, very, very, affordable, pretty easily accessible to the average person. The thing that I do want to, just kind of take note of is somebody who's getting into vintage watches. There's a lot of brands out there that I think are perceived exclusive or luxury or whatever, and they're really not. And this is really cool. This is cool. This is vintage. This is, there's a lot of history. Matter of fact, Mick Jagger wore one. Ed Harris in the movie Abyss, he was actually wearing one of these watches. So a lot of pop culture behind this watch. It definitely for sure is an icon, and getting into a vintage watch doesn't need to be something that is insanely expensive. It can be definitely affordable and just as cool and just as sought after and all that kind of stuff. So be sure to check out our shop, craftandtailor.com, as we do get these in quite frequently. Also, make sure to do us a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what watches you guys are looking at. Let us know what you're thinking. Give us some feedback and some reviews. Also, be sure to follow us on Instagram @craftandtailored. And thanks for tuning in. See you guys in the next episode.